Hey Gregson, it's Oceana. Here's that video that I promised to send over to you about how to get onto the first page of Google with or without a site. So I'm going to show you one method where you do need a website and also one method where you don't need a website in order to show up there. So first of all, here is what I found when it comes to the research. This is what I found through my research about how many people are searching for your services on Google. So for instance, this one here, Carpet Cleaners Detroit, is a phrase people are searching. In this column, you can see how many times a month that phrase is being searched. And then here, this is out of 100, and it's basically supposed to represent how difficult it would be to get to the first page of Google. And anything under 5 is what we call low-hanging fruit. So these are going to be pretty quick and easy to show up for if you know how to do it. So let's get in there. I'm going to do my best to explain how to do it for yourself, because that way, if you have the power to go and do it yourself, you're welcome to do that. But a lot of people, not a lot, but some people come back and say, hey, will you help me with this stuff? And that's where I end up getting my clients. So, okay, let's see here. So once we've identified one of the words that we'd like to show up for, we put them into Google so we can see what we're up against and what our competition is doing to show up there. So first is the ads, and if you'd like some information on ads, I'd be happy to send you over some info on that. But I don't really cover that in these videos. My specialty is getting people up into the maps section and then also down here in the organic section. So in order to show up in the maps section, this is the part you don't actually need a website for. You just need a Google My Business listing with lots of citations. So a Google My Business listing, you probably you already are familiar, but I don't know for a fact that you are, so I'm just going to go over it. So it's basically a free listing on Google, and you can create one if you don't have one already by just going to business.google.com, and that gives you a chance to show up in the maps. And then, and by the way, if you work from your home, like that's your home base and you don't want to have that displayed, you can turn off that setting so that it doesn't show your address, but you will have to provide Google with your address in order to show up up here. But so you want to make sure that your name, address, and phone number are accurate, perfectly spelled right, because then you're going to take that info and put it onto different directories like Yelp, Yext, CityStar, White Pages, Yellow Pages, Facebook. There are a lot to choose from. But basically, every time that you list your name, address, and phone number on one of those directories, that's what's known as a citation. And the more citations you have, the more it proves to Google that you really do serve this community. And that's going to help you show up closer to the top of the results. And if you end up in the top 3, you are shown on this first page of Google, which is really nice because if you do have a website, or if you want to just send people over to your home advisor listing, that's right there. And then you've got your phone number listed right there as well. And on a mobile phone, this would actually just be like a little call now sort of button, and that does increase the amount of calls and jobs you get. And then down here, this is the part that you will need a website for. So I'm going to assume that you're going to set up a website someday and tell you how to get it up here. So first is the Yelp result. For this one, and for right now it's showing Yelp in the first position. I'm not going to compare you to them because it's a little bit like apples and oranges, and it's not quite as easy to compare. But down here, this is what I call your first, your top competitor. It's the first local competitor. And this is a national brand, but what you're up against is not the whole brand. It's just this one page representing the franchise in Warren. So we go to their site. This is the page that's sitting there at the top. And what we want to do is take a look at how much content they have, because you want to have more content on your page. You want to see if they're taking advantage of saving their images properly so that you know whether or not you need to. But I'm going to suggest that you do either way, because I mean, if you can, you might as well do it if it's going to help. So let's see. They've got a decent amount of of words here, you're going to want to outdo them probably by quite a bit, because this is honestly not enough words either. Google really loves content. The more words you have on your site about how you do, like what you do, where you do it, and how you do it, and you can talk about your story, you can talk about all sorts of things, but the more content you have on your page, the more Google is going to see you as an authority or an expert in your field, and that's going to help you show up closer to the top of the results. And then something that they didn't really do very well on this page, so you could do better than them, is you can include, oh, whoops, wrong one, this one. You can include these exact phrases in your content. So for example, you could put, we are the best carpet cleaners Detroit has to offer. Could be a sentence in there, and that way you get carpet cleaners Detroit. Is a little bit of an awkward statement, but you can, there's creative ways to get them there. Okay, so then, so you want to include those exact phrases that you want to show up for in your content several times. And then down here, they don't have any real images on this page, as you can see. This is a background, but it doesn't quite count. But if I right click on their logo, I can click Save Image As. You can do this on any or most images as long as they're saved properly. And this one was uploaded with the name logo. So what you would want to do with your images, and the logo, you might just stick with logo anyway, but you're going to want a bunch of images throughout the content. Like for instance, if you had an image right here, you could save it as one of those keywords, and that would help you basically signal to Google that you deserve to be at the top for that as well. So there's another way you can get ahead. And then over here, we've got their website. I put it into this tool called Ahrefs, and it's the same tool that I used for this keyword research here. But this is another function that it has that gives me an in-depth look into how a website's performing. So their UR score, for example, is 20 out of 100, which is decent. It's a pretty average score, honestly. And their DR score is quite high at 65. Luckily for us, we don't have to beat their entire website's score. So I should explain what these mean. So a UR score is basically how powerful or trustworthy Google thinks that this exact page is. So rather than their home page, this would be location Warren page. And then the DR score is how trustworthy or powerful their entire website is. And like I said, you don't have to beat out their entire website. It's mostly this score you need to beat. And it's not quite as simple as that. It's also a mixture of, how powerful and credible and, how high this score is, as well as how many words you have on the site. And if you include those content, those key phrases, and how you save your images, it's kind of a mixture of all those things. But this is a pretty major factor. So how do you increase your score? Because when you create your site at first, it's going to start at 0. And the answer to that is with backlinks and referring domains. So a referring domain is any website that has at least one link to your website on it, and a backlink is just one of those links. So this one has 17 different websites pointing to this exact page with links, and it's a total of 77 times that they're getting pointed to. So there's different websites having several links on it. So for instance, this movzoo.com, it's got 38 different links to this competitor of yours. And its DR score, or its entire website powerfulness or credibility score, is a 19 out of 100. And that's fairly low, but not terrible. This one's really good. This topratedlocal.com, it makes sense for you to be listed on this site because they rate local businesses. You're a local business. It makes sense. And then on top of that, it's got a really high DR or power score. So this would be a really good one to go out and get. And so if you wanted to get it, you could just basically, click on this and see if you can use this create free account. You can list your business on there, and that'll be a backlink for you. Okay, so that's it. I hope this was helpful. If there's anything that you'd like more information about, if you have questions, I would love to answer your questions, and of course, I'd love some feedback on the video if I was helpful, and if there's anything that you wish I'd have gone into more or less detail about, and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that I get to talk to you again soon. All right, bye.